God is good, and with each day that passes brings us a day closer to the launch of Pantheon Rise of the Fallen. And today we are going to discuss the major updates shown to us during the monthly live stream, which involves weapon assets, a new dungeon, showing off more of what the world is looking like, character model updates, and a lot more. Now, a few quick takeaways for Pantheon Rise of the Fallen and its development is how fast and heavy and obvious the progression has been in 2021. Now, I know the first half of the year seemed a little dark and game development isn't pretty to watch all of the time, but the energy and excitement is in full gear and we're starting to see the world fall in place quicker and with a furious pace, thanks in no small part to the restructured and cleaned up code. The tools they are using to develop the world and all of the foundation work completely finished. It's all about getting everything built now and testing to make sure it all works as intended. Although I can understand people tired of waiting, it is hard to see this progression and not be excited if this is the type of MMO you are looking for. One with depth and personality, with risk versus reward, with unique classes that fill a role, for cooperative multiplayer experiences that create memories, exploration through climbing and swimming in a completely open world with no zone restrictions. What they are making has never been done before on this scale, and as demonstrated in testing sessions and on live streams, it is working and it is hella fun. At this point, I ask that you either be patient and enjoy the ride of game development or walk away and come back when we are closer to launch. But negativity or claiming this game will never come out seems so foolish to everyone who is seeing the progress, and your comment is just not going to age well, take my word. Now, with all that out of the way, we're about to take a look at all the exciting things shown off in December of 2021. You may notice my voice sounds like absolute dog crap. I apologize, I've been extremely sick and I am just now recovering, so please bear with the absurdity of what I sound like. First up, they did show how converting the player models over through the HDRP pipeline has changed the quality of the skin and how the lighting plays with the models to make them more realistic and overall better looking. A common complaint on the models was they have a plastic look to them. Converted over, you can see how much better they look now. It is also worth mentioning that they did not remake these models. They are the same models, just moved over into the HDRP pipeline. It is very impressive, and by the way, for those that are worried about the time it takes to move things over to the HDRP, Joppa stated they are nearing completion of converting everything over. The places, creatures, models, everything. They have previously stated it was really fast. I thought this was super impressive and exciting as we are starting to see what Pantheon will really look like upon release. Next, they talked about how they brought on a new artist, Mr. Phillip, and he has been going hard, and they showed off some of the weapons he has created. We saw them from concept art to final in-game assets. They are using textures or skins depending on the quality of the weapon. You can see here rusty versions all the way up to polished steel versions. As you're looking at these, it's worth noting that obviously these are like the base versions of weapons in the game. There will be epic and more rare weapons, and we likely will not see a whole lot of those until we actually get one in the game. But from the examples given, we can see the variety and the beauty of their weapon design. Obviously, there are more weapons. These are just the ones shown off during this stream. Joppa stated how quickly new armors and weapons are being created and pushed into the game, which is extremely exciting. There is little things in life more exciting than getting a new item and equipping it to see what it looks like on your toon. And it's looking like we will have a lot of major eye candy. It is worth mentioning that the stats shown are not indicative of their final stats on the weapons. It was also mentioned that some of these textures can be reused for world items or anywhere needed. And I also wanted to talk about some of these weapon types, such as the halberds, are weapons that we don't normally get to see often in MMOs. And then Joppa dropped a big old mystery bean when he said, we are used to certain weapons swing faster or hit harder, but in Pantheon they want weapons to play a more significant role. Their goal is to make weapon choice and skill a meaningful decision for all classes at all levels. Not that all classes can use all weapons, but the ones you can use will impact your gameplay greatly. And Joppa promises more more info coming on that in the future. Now before we continue, let's hear from our sponsors and stick with me after that because we got a lot of exciting stuff to cover, including showing up the progress of what the world is looking like now. I want to give a major shout out to the members of Napalm. I could not do this without you. You are the sponsors of this channel, and I thank you for your contribution, allowing me to keep making videos on MMOs, RPGs, and of course, puppets. If you are interested in becoming a member of Napalm, please click the join button down below. It is greatly appreciated. And a very special shout out to the Lords of Napalm, Bounty Code, We Tote Bitcoins, Jared Woodhouse, and Daimlos. Thank you for your highest tier membership. The train is being pushed through the HDRP, and they showed off Wild's End. We got to see it in gray box state not long ago, and now we can see a version much closer to release. Obviously, it is still missing foliage, but the textures and the toolkits they showed us last month is moving the world right along at a very fast pace. This is hardly recognizable from what we've seen only a month ago. This isn't the only zone that has had these changes, but it's the only one they showed. But coming soon, they will be showing us a lot more. The pace of how fast the world is coming together was mentioned again, and it was stated this footage was shot 2 weeks ago, and the progress from even then to now is jaw-dropping. And I have to say that this looks modern and beautiful. Very great job to Visionary Realms. They then took a moment to go through some of the dungeons we already know about before they introduced a new one, which is Amber Fate, for example, which Joppa mentioned is one of his favorites due to the dwarven lore, all the climbability and exploration possibilities, as well as climates, atmospheres that are more than just aesthetic, but with gameplay implications. Then we have Black Rose Keep, which looks absolutely gorgeous. It's hard to believe, but this screenshot is in-game, although it could easily be confused as being a high-quality painting. Black Rose Keep has a lot planned, including NPC disposition, an intermediate world boss, and tons of perception pings and secrets. Next is Halnir Cave, which looks gorgeous. It is densely packed with lore, and even though it is considered a low-level dungeon, it has high-level possibilities as well. Hangor is their outdoor dungeon area, which we've seen before in the past. There's no zone end to this place. It's part of Avendir's Pass, but it's dense with challenge and mobs, just like a dungeon would be. You can look forward to acclamation here as well. And then the infamous Isle of Infinite Storm, which is one of their raid zones. Dynamic weather, fractured climates, climbing, pitfalls and traps, and of course, the big boss, Sleepless. They went on to say there are many dungeons not shown or even mentioned, but being worked on in private as well. Then they showed us our first good look at the gate. Ronik talked about how cool it was to explore and how high up and how far you can see off into the distance is shocking. Joppa read some lore about the wraiths that are known as the Withered by the halflings, and the halflings are tied to them. The gate has many stories untold, but back when it was a temple, a high priest went down in history as one who seemed to never age. Joppa promises there are some of Terminus's darkest, deepest secrets inside. They showed a good look from the inside, and it looks amazing, reminding me of ancient ruins absolutely begging to be explored. Joppa states that getting to the gate will not be straightforward, and from the looks of things and knowing about climbing and swimming, we can use our imaginations. Getting to the gate will be half of the fun, as the climbing skill or classes with you or the tools you have will be mandatory to figuring out how to get yourself and your group here and to explore it once you are. Bridges made by druids or warriors exposing rocks to break into areas, gliding in and around the area, and so forth. Joppa goes into a completely soulful speech that I will not try to replicate. I will simply let you hear it.
Just think about the great D&D campaigns. Think about a great D&D campaign. It's the moments where we're able to ask questions like, can I jump across this gap? And if I do, will I be able to grab the other side? Can I slide down this and survive? Do we have any rope on us? Does anybody have any rope that they can try to let down and maybe climb up and drop down for the rest of us to climb? Do we have something we can use to grapple to the other side and swing across? And on and on and on. It's that freedom to ask and think that way when it comes to exploring and adventuring in that setting that makes it so fun. And so whereas other games may, really push, game modes, or we're gonna have, this kind of PvP feature. We're gonna be very, RVR based or siege based, or, this is kind of a crafting survival type game. And you boil it down to, what are you doing as a player? What are you actually doing as a player? What other than, you know, targeting something and attacking it, killing it, looting it, and moving on to the next thing. Yeah, it may be, you know, in a siege environment. Yeah, it may be in kind of a crafting survival environment, and there's nothing wrong with those games. But where we're really staking our claim is, how can we expand the adventurer's experience, the player's ability to creatively and with a sense of sovereignty look at the world and decide how they want to approach it, and leverage whatever means that they've acquired for themselves to see this world open up more and more to them. That is what Pantheon really, that's the heart of what Pantheon is all about, is creating that quintessential adventure experience and just evolving it to as many degrees as we possibly can.
Now, if that doesn't get you excited, you just aren't a nerd, my friend. And this is the game they are building. Many of us have witnessed a taste of the adventure. The freedom is so real, like you have never experienced it before. But anyway, the interiors of the game are full of scale and how huge and massive everything is. Take a look at all the nooks and crannies, the holes and passageways, and just realize that you can explore all of that in this massive dungeon. You could be here for months and still learn something new. It is absolutely one of the most exciting things I can think of, especially when you consider how you could come back later with better gear, with better swimming or climbing, or better tools, or more abilities, and explore further and further and further. Joppa also mentioned some interactability of this dungeon, that the water levels can be changed, and I got PTSD thinking of the water temple in Ocarina of Time. Now keep in mind that we are talking about an open world dungeon here, so the non-linear sprawling architecture of this place is just mouth-watering, and the possibilities of interacting with the dungeon with water levels while other people are exploring all over it is scary and also funny and also exciting. Now that was an update, my friends. I gotta say, Visionary Realms really laid the nail deep into the wood with the hammer of this update, and I gotta say that 2021 really got Pantheon from a place of we are trying to a place of we are doing it, and it is happening. Joppa promises that 2022 will be a year of getting it done, and although he didn't make a direct promise, he mentioned alpha, and I still stand by that they are shooting for an internal alpha release for 2022. I don't know that for a fact, it's just that the excitement and the undercurrent is all pointing straight to that, in my opinion. I hope you enjoyed the update. Let me know in the comments down below what you think. What are you most excited for? What do you think of the model updates by bringing them into the HDRP pipeline, the world creation, or the gate? Let me know, and please drop me a like to help with the YouTube algorithm. And although I sound like complete dog poo, the content is back, baby. So please hit subscribe for more Pantheon and MMO and RPG content. Until next time, my friends, God bless and happy gaming.